Fans of the bold and the beautiful, brace yourselves for a storyline so shocking it will have social media buzzing and alliances shifting like sand in a gale. After weeks of Steffi Forrester-Finnegan maintaining the upper hand in her feud with Luna Nozawa, Luna has executed a brazen, heart-stopping gambit that threatens not only Steffi's reputation, but the very bond between mother and son. In a move equal parts devious and desperate, Luna quietly approached Steffi's trusted nanny with an irresistible offer, covertly convincing her to take Hayes, the precious little boy Steffi shares with Finn, for a playdate at a secluded coastal park. But this was no innocent afternoon outing. Instead, Luna orchestrated the perfect disappearance. As the sun dipped low over the Pacific, the nanny glanced away for mere seconds, and Hayes vanished. Panic rippled through the serene cove. Luna, camera in hand, half hidden by shadows, began a live broadcast that would play out like an anchor dragging down the Forrester name. With calm, calculated delivery, she hinted at gross negligence by Steffi, casting doubt on her mothering abilities and insinuating that Steffi's obsession with professional grudges had blinded her to her own child's safety. Viewers across the world watched in horror as Luna spun her version of events, dubbing the 6-hour ordeal Steffi's worst nightmare. When word reached Steffi's penthouse at Forrester Creations, she exploded with equal parts rage and despair. Every second that Hayes remained missing felt like an eternity. Every unread text from the nanny felt like a dagger. Steffi's tireless calls to Finn, to the park rangers, to any contact who might glimpse Hayes bore no fruit until the Coast Guard finally traced the nanny's footprints near the tide pools. There, huddled behind a boulder, was Hayes, trembling but safe. Cradled in the nanny's arms as she emerged, tears mingling with relief. Steffi launched herself forward, scooping Hayes into her arms and whispering apologies over and over, her usually impeccable composure shattered. But even as she clung to her son, her phone vibrated incessantly. Notifications flooded in, hashtags accusing her of child endangerment, outraged comments demanding her removal from Forrester Creations, animated clips of Luna's live stream replaying second by second. Social media had exploded, memes mocking Steffi's teary embrace interlaced with condemnations of her workaholic indifference. The Forrester name, once synonymous with luxury and elegance, now dangled over a public execution. Once the immediate panic faded, Steffi's heartbreak twisted into icy resolve. She realized in that moment that Luna, whom she had dismissed as a meddling upstart, had no boundaries. Luna had weaponized motherhood to strike at Steffi's very core, and Steffi vowed that the only fitting response would be total retaliation. She would dismantle Luna's world piece by piece, starting with what Luna coveted most, the coveted role of chief designer at Forrester Creations. For years, Luna had vied for recognition, positioning herself as the avant-garde visionary who could outshine even Steffi's most daring collections. Luna believed the coveted title would finally cement her status among fashion's elite, but Steffi knew the only way to crush Luna's hope was to seize that prize before she could. With Hayes safe at home, Steffi convened an all-hands meeting in the Forrester boardroom. Gone was the forgiving warmth she once extended to colleagues. Now she spoke with chilling precision. She laid out Luna's sabotage, the nanny's betrayal, the 6 hours of terror, and the tidal wave of negative press. She then outlined her plan, fast-track the spring-summer fragrance campaign to overshadow Luna's emerging apparel line, reroute key investors from Luna's pitch to a surprise capsule collection designed and fronted by none other than Steffi herself, and leak exclusive interviews to top-tier fashion journals painting Luna as an unethical operator who exploited a child's scare for self-promotion. Every move would be surgical, Executed with the flawless timing Steffi had honed over years of high-stakes corporate warfare. Those who questioned her methods would find themselves on the way out, no exceptions. As word of Steffi's counterstrike began to circulate, Luna found herself suddenly adrift. Invitations to panel discussions dried up. Social media influencers who had championed her criticized her empathy, and potential collaborators recoiled at the thought of associating with someone so reckless. Luna's design studio, once a bustling hive of creativity, grew eerily quiet as her team hesitated to work under her tarnished banner. Meanwhile, Steffi's viral pop-up showcases dazzled critics and customers alike, her fragrance sales skyrocketing even as the headlines detailed Luna's shameful gambit. The tide had turned, and Luna, who had launched her live stream in triumph, now stared in dismay at the ruins of her reputation. Yet in true soap opera fashion, the war is far from over. Luna, cornered but unbowed, will undoubtedly strike back with a new scheme, and Steffi, though victorious in her first strike, must stay one step ahead to protect Hayes and secure her position. Will Steffi's ruthless campaign finally force Luna into exile from the fashion world, or will Luna's next move catch Steffi off guard and plunge the Forrester empire into fresh chaos? One thing is certain. In the battle for power, prestige, and personal vengeance, no one is immune to betrayal, and no victory is ever guaranteed. Tune in to CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful on Thursday, June 19th, 2025, to witness the next explosive chapter in this Mother versus Mother war, where the stakes have never been higher and the drama never more deadly. Fans of The Bold and the Beautiful, mark your calendars for Thursday, June 19th, 2025, an episode loaded with ambition, revelations, and emotional stakes that promise to shatter alliances and set the Forrester and Logan families ablaze. The next chapter opens with Steffi Forrester Finnegan channeling every ounce of her drive into her work at Forrester Creations, determined to rise above the distractions of her turbulent personal life. Unwilling to expend any more effort on thoughts of Luna Nozawa, she buries herself in sketches, meetings, and fragrance formulas. Yet even as Steffi throws herself into design brainstorms and production timelines, she remains unaware that Luna's shadow looms larger than ever. Reaching out to Hayes Forrester Finnegan under the cover of late-night calls and cryptic texts. This revelation, poised to fracture Steffi's focus, threatens to ignite a new feud with Hope Logan, who will interpret Steffi's next move as a direct challenge to her own creative domain. Meanwhile, back at Il Giardino, Brooke Logan drops a bombshell on Katie Logan. Nick Marone is back in town, and he and Brooke shared a momentous kiss. The sisters' private exchange will reverberate through their close-knit circle, forcing loyalties to shift and old wounds to reopen. As the drama escalates, viewers are left to wonder which relationships will survive the chaos and which will collapse under its weight. Steffi's choice to prioritize work over personal entanglements sets the stage for an explosive clash with her longtime rival, Hope Logan. With the fragrance launch for the pairing line on the horizon, Forrester Creations teeters on the brink of a breakthrough or a breakdown. Daphne Rose, the face of the new scent duo, is currently enjoying her freedom in San Francisco, but Steffi believes that restoring her to her Los Angeles perch is essential to the brand's success. Unbeknownst to Steffi, the returning Luna Nozawa has already inserted herself between Daphne and Hayes, sowing seeds of doubt and stirring up old resentments. As Steffi convenes an emergency strategy session in her glass-walled office, Hope storms in, insisting that Daphne's only interest lies in pursuing Carter Walton. The argument that follows will be nothing short of seismic. Steffi argues that Daphne must remain close to the creative heartbeat of the fragrance line, while Hope accuses her of manipulating young talent for personal gain. Steffi's decision to issue an ultimatum that could send Daphne running and fracture the fragrance division sets off a chain reaction of fury and betrayal that will electrify every corner of the Forrester empire. Hope Logan's reaction to Steffi's maneuver is as fierce as it is personal. Once the golden girl of Forrester Creations and Steffi's childhood friend, Hope now sees a side of Steffi she can barely recognize, the ruthless executive willing to risk artistry for dominance. As news of Daphne's potential relocation spreads, Hope seethes at the thought that her own influence over the scent line is slipping away. She remembers the late nights spent perfecting the perfume notes, the heart-to-heart with Daphne about balancing business with integrity, and the promise that creativity would always come before commerce. Now, Hope watches helplessly as Steffi courts a power play that could sideline her and elevate Daphne into an unwitting pawn. In a private conversation over lattes at the little diner, Hope vows to protect her vision and take back what she believes Steffi is trying to steal, an emotional duel that threatens to topple the fragile peace between the Forrester women. Across town, Brooke Logan's confession to Katie in the sunlit kitchen of Logan Manor adds another layer of intrigue. Katie has just returned from a business trip when Brooke, her usually unflappable sister, admits that Nick Marone has resurfaced, and that a single kiss reignited something neither of them can ignore. Katie's initial shock gives way to fierce protectiveness. She reminds Brooke of her time-honored bond with Ridge Forrester, their years of marriage, and the life they built together. But as Brooke struggles to articulate the rush of emotions that Nick's return stirred, a heady mix of guilt, longing, and the thrill of a second chance, Katie realizes that her sister stands at a crossroads. Should Brooke cling to the security of her history with Ridge, now deeply in love with Taylor Hayes, or follow her heart toward the man who once asked her to redefine her future at his side? Neither choice comes without cost. Ridge's simmering jealousy could erupt if he learns of Brooke's confession, while Nick, ever the opportunist, might seize the moment to reclaim a place in Brooke's heart and in the Forrester family saga. As the episode builds to its fevered climax, the question hanging over every scene is which alliances will endure and which will collapse under the weight of ambition and desire. Will Steffi succeed in her campaign to bring Daphne back to Los Angeles, or will Hope's fierce loyalty to her creative vision spark a rebellion that fractures the fragrance division? Will Brooke find the courage to pursue a fresh start with Nick, or will she retreat to the familiar embrace of Ridge, risking a chasm with Katie and the rest of the Logan clan? And how will the unseen hand of Luna Nozawa continue to influence Hayes, drawing him further into a web that could ensnare all three generations of Forresters? With betrayals on the brink of becoming open warfare, June 19th promises to deliver the kind of high-stakes drama that has defined the bold and the beautiful for decades. Tune in and prepare for shattered dreams, unexpected alliances, and the kind of shocking twists that will leave you on the edge of your seat until the final frame.